Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Bird here. Today I'm taking you along with me to my very first ThriftCon in Seattle. And wow, it did not disappoint. This was my very first time attending, and I couldn't wait to see what all the hype was about. ThriftCon is a one-day event running from 10 to 5, and I got there just before the doors opened. And let me tell you, the line was already really long. You could feel the excitement in the air, people chatting, planning their hauls, and just waiting to get inside. So what exactly is ThriftCon? At its core, it's a convention dedicated to all things vintage, collectible, handmade, and sustainable. It's honestly like a heaven for thrifters and makers. ThriftCon actually got its start a few years ago in Denver, Colorado. What started as a local idea has grown into a huge nationwide event, traveling to different cities and bringing together more than 150 vendors at each location. It's become this hub for people who love fashion, history, creativity, and sustainability. One of the highlights for me was visiting the Singer booth. As a Foth brand ambassador, this was a real treat because Singer is part of the same family under SVP Worldwide along with Viking. Singer has been around for over 170 years and has an incredible reputation in the sewing world. Singer also had machines set up so people could sit down and try sewing for the very first time, and they were demonstrating different features of the different machines. It was so cool to watch brand new sewists light up as they stitched their very first seams. It was just truly inspiring, and it reminded me of my very first time sitting down with my machine. Here's a little behind the scenes moment of me being interviewed. It was such a fun experience and a great way to share my love for thrifting, sewing, and sustainability. By the way, for this event, I'm wearing a denim jacket that I made myself, paired with a set of overalls I stitched together using 4 different fabric patterns. It just felt so amazing to show up with something that I created. Let me tell you about this venue. It was huge, open, airy, and the perfect space for this kind of event. Even though there were tons of people, it never felt cramped. The aisles were wide, the layout was super organized, and you could move easily from vendor to vendor without feeling crowded. It really made the whole experience enjoyable because you could actually take your time and browse without bumping shoulders every few seconds. That set the tone for the whole day, comfortable, inviting, and full of energy. I truly enjoyed just walking around and exploring the event and the vendors. There was an incredible variety. Of course, there were all of the thrifted staples we know and love, racks and racks of vintage t-shirts, hoodies, lots and lots of denim, sneakers, purses, and accessories, but that was just the beginning. There were handmade custom garments, designers who had reworked thrifted items into completely new pieces. There were sustainable brands selling upcycled fashion, turning old materials into fresh designs. I even saw jewelry makers who were using repurposed parts to create one-of-a-kind pieces. Another part of the day that I really loved was meeting some amazing creators. There were designers and makers and small business owners, and I just enjoyed chatting with them and hearing about their stories. Honestly, I think that's part of the magic of ThriftCon. Every single booth had a different vibe, a different personality. Some were all about nostalgia, like 90s band tees or Y2K fashion. Others were focused on high-end vintage or streetwear or carefully curated handmade goods. No 2 booths felt the same, which kept me exploring for hours. And let's talk about the vibe for a second. It was electric. There's something about being in a space full of people who are passionate about the same things. Everyone was friendly, approachable, and excited to share what they found. It really felt like a community gathering, a place where creativity and style all came together. Now, one of the things that really struck me about ThriftCon is its focus on sustainability. We all know fashion waste is a huge issue. Millions of tons of clothing end up in landfills every year, and a lot of it doesn't break down for decades, sometimes even hundreds of years. And here's the thing. A lot of those garments never really break down. Natural fibers like cotton or wool will eventually decompose, but synthetic fibers like polyester, nylon, or spandex can take hundreds of years to break apart, and even then, they don't completely disappear. They just break into microplastics that pollute our soil, our water, and eventually our food systems. That's why events like ThriftCon are so important. Every time we thrift, buy handmade, or upcycle an old piece into something new, we're keeping those items in circulation and out of the landfill. It's empowering to know that creativity and sewing can make such a big difference for the planet. Before I wrap up, I also wanted to share that ThriftCon isn't just a Seattle event. It's actually a nationwide tour. Each year, ThriftCon travels to different cities across the country. In the past, they've had stops in places like Denver, Los Angeles, Houston, and Atlanta, and they keep adding new locations. If you're curious about where ThriftCon will be popping up next, definitely check their website or socials. I'll drop a link below because chances are they may be coming to a city near you. And honestly, if you're a thrifter, maker, or just someone who loves unique style, it's worth the trip. Now, of course, I could not leave empty-handed. I did pick up a couple of really neat things to add to my own wardrobe, and I also grabbed a few special pieces for other people in my life. I don't want to spoil it just yet because I'll be sharing all of those finds with you in my next fabric haul video. And trust me, you're going to want to see them. There are some unique pieces that I cannot wait to style and some materials that are perfect for upcycling projects. And outside of ThriftCon itself, I also had the chance to explore a few local thrift stores in Seattle. I was so surprised to find shops I don't normally see back home in Maryland. It was really refreshing to see how different cities have their own secondhand culture and how that influences what you can find. It made the whole trip even more special. So overall, my first ThriftCon experience was inspiring, fun, and honestly, a little overwhelming in the best possible way. From the vendors to the sustainable mission to the people I met along the way, it reminded me just how creative and resourceful this community is. I left with new ideas, new materials, and a deeper appreciation for what thrifting and sewing can do for our wardrobes and for the planet. And I'm already looking forward to going again in the future. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear if you've ever been to a ThriftCon. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me on this adventure. It means so much to share these experiences with you. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more sewing, upcycling, and sustainable fashion content. I've got more fabric hauls, sewing projects, and creative ideas coming your way very soon. Thanks so much for rocking with me. Bye-bye for now.